Hello and welcome to the show. We've got a fantastic conversation. You're watching Close Encounters of the Tech Kind. Today, we're going to be talking about a number of subjects. We've got 184 million passwords were just leaked out, leaked, posted, scripted, somehow accidentally found by a researcher. It's going to be a good one. We also have New Orleans is testing facial recognition. They just got caught having run a 2-year program, pilot program. And apparently, Russia is now forcing everybody to install a tracking app. They're not the first country to do this, but we're going to dive into that. And then at the end of this, we might have some banter that could be interesting. We're going to talk how did we get to now, spotlighting different individuals. Speaking of individuals, let's welcome to the show, Mike.
Hey, everybody.
And then we got Jackson.
How to do?
And we got Artie.
Good afternoon.
It might not be afternoon when you're listening to this, but it's afternoon when we're streaming this for the first time. So good afternoon, wherever you might be. What is it? It's 3:00 somewhere. Is that the phrase?
Well,
5 o'clock somewhere.
it would be, yeah,
5:00.
yeah, happy hour.
Happy hour. It's always
I
happy
thought 5:00
hour
was
somewhere.
quitting time.
It's that too.
I mean,
It's
can
two
you
for
think of
one.
an hour that's more happy than when you get off the clock?
The first hour at Disneyland when you're trying to figure out where to go.
And then the third hour when you're still standing in line for the first thing that you decided to get in line for.
And then that last hour, it's like, is this day over yet?
You know, you could be in line for
Okay.
the ride and they have to shut the ride down and bring the lights up on it so you can actually see everything in there.
That'd be fun. Well, speaking of bringing up the lights on everything, let's jump into this first one. 184 million passwords were leaked or guessed or somehow posted to the internet for public view. I think it was accidental. Artie, you've got the article, right?
I have an article up, yes. And I'm going to clarify something. It's not 184 million passwords. It's 184 million logins. So this is all the credentials. So
It's not a credential, it's all the credential.
yeah,
It's only, listen, guys, I think we're overreacting. It's only half of the United States population. It's not that bad.
Oh, okay, good. Good. I was worried there for a second.
So only like two of us probably have been exposed. That's not bad.
Two
I
of
think we're
us
okay.
on this podcast right now. We gotta stop what we're doing and change passwords.
Yeah,
Well,
it's kind of like, it's like, you know, the Thanos deal. It's like, it's not that bad, guys.
so but before we get into it, just, you know, might be a wise idea to go and change your logins because, well, at least your passwords, because Apple, Discord, Facebook, Google, Instagram, Microsoft, Roblox, Snapchat, Spotify, WordPress, Yahoo, and many others, according to Wired.
Is this,
And this
has
is-
it been updated by Have I Been Pwned? Do we know if they have it yet?
I do not know yet. I just
John's shaking
was
his
there
head.
checking a couple passwords right before we started this. And so if they have been compromised, they haven't been updated on their site yet.
As of time of this stream, Have I Pwned hasn't posted the information on this leak yet. So it's gonna happen, but it's what, 47 gigabytes worth of files?
47.42 gigabytes of raw data. And that's a lot
So that-
of
It's gonna
It's not
take
even
you
like-
through.
It's
Looking
not
at a
even like Call of
screenshot,
Duty.
looking at a screenshot of the data that's been obviously redacted, it looks like it is set up in, I don't know the language, but it's set up to be like scrolled through for a database, like
like a JSON
site
file or something.
gov_in and then URL, and it gives the URL for the login site and you've got, government for Brazil, I think, India, Australia.
Oh, so it's not just the US.
No,
Jackson, your Thanos analogy is way off.
You're right. It's
Only
even
100
better. It's even better.
184 million
Better.
out of 8 billion.
but at the same
I
time,
don't
like
get
those
what the big deal is then, John.
at the same time, we don't know if this is a partial list or not.
So only half of one of us needs to change their password.
So,
Right.
so all non-computer users are still safe, right?
It's a safe bet.
The
So
isolated tribes in the Amazon, I think they're okay.
the person that discovered this, he verified the data by reaching out to some of the people that were listed in the data, and
Oh,
they came back with,
that's
yeah,
comforting.
that's
Get an email
valid.
from somebody. Hey, is this your password?
Well,
Do I know you?
depending upon the information that's there, I mean, I don't know if there are phone numbers in some of these as well, or because some of the services require a phone number to log in as well.
Right.
gotta
So it
think
could be.
that people he knew, or at least
That
had
too.
an acquaintance with, just to verify.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Possibly other people in the cybersecurity industry as well that he recognized.
yeah.
When I first read some of the details on this, I was thinking, this isn't a breach. Like Microsoft didn't get breached. Roblox didn't get breached. I think users got breached.
It's better than that, though. From what I'm reading, anyway.
So the researcher said that it looks like it was compiled through InfoStealer malware.
Yeah.
So,
Mm.
keyloggers or other types of...
You go to the wrong website, and your web page will leak everything that your web browser has saved. So when and you guys know this, I harp on this every time, but whenever you get into a web browser and it says, would you like to remember your credentials? Never do that. These info stealers will catch that.
Mm-hmm. And it's not like, because all your browsers, Firefox and Chrome, they all tout, and Edge as well. They're all like, oh, it's all encrypted, it's all secure, and all this. And I'm like, well, I wouldn't trust that, because there have been stories in the past, news stories, where it's like, oh yeah, they're actually not.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
going to say that up until about the middle of last year, Chrome did not automatically encrypt any passwords that you saved through it. And it was only after
Why would you need to encrypt it?
Yeah.
You already know it. You typed it in.
It's a cookie.
It's just saved in a plain text
one wants to
file
eat an
somewhere in
encrypted
your
cookie.
directories.
Yeah, for those who also don't know, usually when a website says we'd like to store cookies and all that, that's what those are. Those are cookies. All of your login information, all of that type of stuff. I guess it depends. It depends on what it is, but they can contain that information. And a cookie, that might be a whole other conversation. But all of those things where it's like, oh, let us just save your data and make your life easier. Well, it might be easy today, and then tomorrow, when 184 million passwords and logins are leaked, that might not be that easy.
It would be interesting if this
Artie,
were... Yeah?
You said that it's info stealers. So if I'm reading this right, these credentials were already compromised long before this database was uncovered. I mean, what I'm saying is that this database is not the compromise.
No, this database is not the compromise. This database is the coalescence of a lot of, like possibly years of info stealer
compromises. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, that could be a treasure trove in itself. Do an analysis on how many people are using words for passwords or random characters for passwords. That'd be an interesting thought. But so a researcher just stumbled across this database in the clear on some obscure site, right? Where'd they find it?
I'm not sure at the moment. I didn't have a chance to read the full article in full. I just was able to scan through and see things that jumped out at me.
That's the way we fly.
While he's looking at that, so I guess I have 3 questions. How do you know if you're included in this database? Do we have to wait for have I been pwned or someone else to kind of upload that? If so, okay. Then if you realize that you've been breached and we think that it's probably from some malware, how do you remove that malware? How do you know if you have it? How do you clean that up? Are there recommended tools or methods of doing that?
Most antiviruses will catch this if it's not already. You just run a hard, heavy scan on your system, maybe a couple days from now, because if it's a novel one, if it's one in the wild that read that as 0 day, um, it may not be known,
Mm-hmm.
but
So
it doesn't have to be a malware on your system. It could be you go to a web page that has the malware on it. It spawns JavaScript,
mhm.
and now everything in your browser, all your favorites, all your cookies, everything is now loaded to their servers.
So what you're saying is as long as it's not a 0 day, meaning, it's something new that we've never seen before, then if I have my antivirus installed and as long as I don't revisit whatever sketchy web page I was on, then I should be okay moving forward.
Should be.
Potentially.
But yeah, antivirus, anti-ransomware, anti-malware, that whole suite, whatever your favorite flavor is, you should be good. But
Let's go back to the main, like the big
Yeah.
one. Don't click on links you don't recognize, especially if they
well,
come
that
in the
doesn't
email.
always work.
But
It doesn't always
sometimes,
work.
USPS, they're always texting me and they're telling me that I have a lost package and they send a link. And so, I can trust that. What are you talking about?
No.
Jackson, we have to really
It's
reconsider a couple
usually
things now.
it's usually like it says bit.ly and then like some other random characters. That's safe. I click on those all the time.
So
No.
I'll share with
just
you
kidding.
guys a couple things I ran into. I know, Jackson.
just want to make sure. That's don't click on any of those. And USPS is not texting you. Nor is
So
UPS.
have you seen
nor
those
is-
restaurant menus or parking garage where you got to scan a QR code and download an app?
Hate that. Don't do it.
There's a new hack going around. You guys watch out for this. Look real close, make sure it's not a sticker on that QR.
Right.
Because some people are putting stickers on top of those. So when you scan it, it will connect you eventually, but it puts a man in the middle attack on play.
Mhm.
So your name, your password, your credit card number goes through that intermediator site, which then connects you to the real site. So now you paid $5 for parking, and then they've got your credit card. So now they're gonna go spend money, $500 at Lululemon or something. I don't know where hackers spend money. I think
That's a
I think designer
well-dressed hacker.
clothes is where designer clothes is where hackers spend money.
That's where I spend my money, as a hacker.
This is not an endorsement, by the way, of where to spend your money. So just want to be clear on that.
Or
So,
hacking.
Right. The data is what was discovered in a database that was exposed. It doesn't say how we found it, but it's an exposed Elastic database. And
Elastic database? Does that mean it's continuously being changed, modified, updated?
I think it means it's always growing.
Hmm.
And there was a misconfiguration
Hmm.
that allowed him to gain access to it. Many security researchers will just go out and, what the black hats do, these guys do, but they're not doing it for the purpose of causing harm. They're doing it for the purpose of alleviating harm. So white hat versus black hat.
Ethical hackers. They're curious. They want to see what the world has in it. They want to see how it works.
Or they want to
It's our kind of
fix
people.
the holes, or like this guy, find the issues and fix them. And it's possible he was going to report, hey, I found this hole in your security. And then he realized, oh golly, this is a hole in everyone's security.
Mm-hmm. And I
Yeah.
think the biggest thing about what makes this data breach a little more interesting is that we don't know how long it's been out. And it's not just like a single breach, it's just ongoing, which I think we all kind of hit on. But to kind of
Dozens of sites.
emphasize that, yeah, to emphasize that, especially since now we also know that it's an elastic database, meaning it's growing. It's like we don't know how long they've had this information. And if you find out that they do have your information, it's in that database, you really don't know how long it's been out. And yeah, that's a really hard thing, especially if you're a large business, because I think I was reading as well. Some of these are like there's big clumps of people from a business that they've gotten all infected with, and so
or a government,
yeah,
or yeah.
so it's really a gold mine, and it's a heyday for hackers.
Literally,
Um,
because they, in a sample of 10,000 records that he analyzed, he did a keyword search and found 187 instances of the word bank. So
mm,
banking details also in there, PayPal accounts, Nintendo, Snapchat, Twitter, WordPress, Netflix.
We've just got to. So I think the takeaway here, guys, is make sure you've got 2FA.
we need like a gang sign for like 2FA, you know,
No, we
so
don't.
we can just like
No, we don't.
No.
No.
I think we should. Maybe we can like, you know, make it cool on the kids, you know, and then the kids will pick it up and everyone will be like, yeah, 2FA, don't forget.
Yeah, this is just indiscriminate. This is just raw credential harvesting. They don't care what the credential is for. They're taking it and adding it to their database. And you know, the people that the bad actors that do this kind of stuff, they don't care if it's like that this tiny site that only like 200 people have ever logged on.
And we don't
The
know if it's a
reason they
bad
don't
actor
care about
that
that
gathered this
is
data.
it's data, and most
Whether or not they
people
want to be a bad actor, oh, they are. They are now.
If
most
yeah,
people want to, or most people will reuse the same passwords and the same login.
exactly right.
And, you know, it's something that we're told don't do that. But, you know, I think everybody here has at least at one point in their past reused a password at least once.
Mm-hmm. Okay, one last question, because I don't think it was asked. Are these encrypted or unencrypted passwords that are in the database?
Clear.
Unencrypted.
Oh my gosh.
Because how
So
else
I
would the
don't know if it
cyber
was a
criminals
bad actor.
be able to read them? I mean,
I think it was more of somebody stumbled across a database and they're speculating what it was. Whose was it?
With the amount of just the broad swath of sites that this is coming from, I can't see this anything other than a bad actor. I mean,
Whether or not they want to be, they are at this point, because
there are
now
government
everyone is
addresses
looking for
from
it.
all over the world as well. So it's not just targeting a single instance. I mean, this could also be an espionage type thing, but that's speculation.
Could also be a researcher. Set a project up and forgot about it, and it's just running in the background and accidentally got, 183 million more passwords than he intended.
Whoops.
I'm just saying, like there's malicious, and then there's accidentally like careless. But
I don't think
The art-
Hanlon's razor comes in with the sheer magnitude of this, because for an elastic database to grow that large, it needs to be curated. You need to have people adding to the storage in order for it to grow.
True.
the article I'm reading says that the concept of cyber criminals accidentally exposing their own database is not new. It has happened before, and they point to a incident just a few months ago that a couple of well-known hacking groups had collaborated to target and extract data, only to accidentally leak their own in the process. This is reported from Hackery.com, that's reporting on the same story. So, I mean, it does happen, and it very well could be that it's the same thing that's happened again, that somebody just very quickly and effortlessly, without knowing what they're doing, set up a database on the internet and said, okay, we're going to program this malware to point to this database to store everything it finds, thinking nobody was going to find it, but it's totally in the open. And it tells me that they set it up not knowing how to secure it, anyway,
There
like
was
Mhm.
default
a breach.
passwords, no root password, it's just root login without a password or something like that, I mean.
There was a breach a while back. Amazon, bunch of S3 buckets.
Mhm.
So you'd have a virtual machine hard drive. You'd spin it up or you copy it off and put it somewhere. The default in S3 was it's public access. You have to purposely go in and say hide this from the public view.
The
Hmm.
database.
It's a
Yeah,
great
this was
default
using not
setting.
database, not database.
Oh, just the
Your
whole
virtual
thing?
hard drive,
Oh, the whole thing. Okay.
the whole drive. So one guy he spun up a small army of machines and started scanning all of the publicly accessible hard drives for cryptographic keys. He said in $400 he got thousands of access credentials. He got certificates to get into major sites. His goal
Okay.
was to go tell them all secure your stuff because
That's some
it's
money
been out
right
there.
there.
I have an addendum. I found the guy's original post. The hosting provider would not disclose their customers' information, so it is not known if the database was used for criminal activity or if this information was gathered for legitimate research purposes and then exposed due to oversight. So, we're just
Silly college
speculating.
kids.
We are the most
And
dangerous.
he doesn't know if anybody else has gained access to this before him.
Right. And
well,
he
I mean,
did, according to my article, he did notify the hosting provider hosting
Yeah.
the database, and it was immediately removed from public access, so that if nobody else has had access, they're not getting access now. So
Yep. He did the right
Wait,
thing.
who did he notify? Because what if the provider, like,
the
or
hosting
hosting
provider.
provider where the database was hosted.
So
But, I
like he would
mean-
reach out to Amazon and say, "You've got a
Okay.
file in the open, lock it down."
But if it was
Right.
self-hosted, then all he did was tell the hackers, "Hey, by the way, I can see your database."
I
But we are
don't think it was
assuming that it's not.
self-hosted,
Then, okay,
just based upon the way he's talking about it.
okay,
He
makes
sent a
sense.
disclosure notice to the hosting provider.
Okay, yeah, so
So
that means it's probably a big
Yeah,
public-facing company that's not malicious.
right.
Yeah.
So
Well, let's
if you're out there
let's
listening
jump
to
over to
this,
the.
I just recommend checking your accounts and making sure that you've got two-factor authentication on, or change your password and be very on top of it. And please don't use the same password across everything. Don't save it in the browser either. It's it's easy, but it's also exploitable.
It's one of those. We've helped many people work out of that hole they dug. It's not pretty. It's not fun, and yeah, sage advice. So I'm gonna let's jump into the next subject here. We've got New Orleans just got caught with, speaking of databases, we just got caught with 2 years worth of facial scanning. Is that right, Jackson?
Mm-hmm. Now, just to make sure, this is not set up as a data breach. Rather, it was we discovered they were doing this and we don't like it. So this is coming from TechSpot, and New Orleans has been using AI surveillance without public knowledge or really full oversight for the last 2 years.
Maybe we do want a data breach. What have you been gathering on us?
So it says that more than 200 artificial intelligence powered cameras have been scanning faces in real time and notifying police when they find a suspect or felon or whatever it works. Now, part of the controversy was that it was a private nonprofit called Project NOLA, NOLA, is operating the system, not the city. So it's now privatized, and there's really no control over the data that they've been gathering. Now, what they've said that the system does is it records real-time video, does AI, uses some AI facial recognition software to run faces against a database, which looks like it was compiled from 30,000 faces that a former police officer assembled from mugshots and other law enforcement records.
So this was just a dragnet to find criminals.
Essentially, yeah.
Okay.
That is
I
what it
love and
was.
hate that.
Yeah, that's what it was set up to do, and it was given this database of the 30,000 faces that law enforcement had. So that's the database that it was searching against to find people. But the other thing that it was doing, it was also storing that information. So if it recognizes a face, or even if it's just, if it catches a face, it's then storing that, giving it an ID, and it saves that for 30 days. So for an entire month. So then, if they get a hit, they can then run that face back all the way through the last 30 days and see where you've been, what you've been up to. So that is the big controversy, is they are now tracking you and where you're going and what you're doing without your consent, without even notifying you. At least they did for the last 2 years. And yeah, that's kind of the thing.
Is it accurate?
There's another aspect to it that might not be in the article you're reading.
Go for it.
There's a city ordinance in New Orleans that is designed to prevent false arrests, and this practice is in direct opposition to that. So they're literally breaking the law of their city to do this.
Well, and it's one of those, we're seeing license plate readers pop up everywhere. Here in Cheyenne, we've got a whole bunch. I drove down to Denver recently, and I saw hundreds of license plate scanners across all the roads. And it's one of those, it hasn't been tried in the courts. We don't know what is good and what is bad from a legal sense, but I know what I don't like. I don't like somebody knowing exactly where I'm at every time of the day. Now, I've got a phone in my pocket, tells Google where I'm at, tells Verizon and T-Mobile or whoever I've got, tells them where I'm at. So the information's there. But that information has been tested in courts. That information requires, probable cause for somebody to go look that up. This running for 2 years, that hasn't been tested in the courts. And if it's in direct opposition to existing stuff, that's frightening. But I mean, what do you think? Let's take pros and cons on this. No pun intended on cons.
Well,
what's the benefit to society?
So the benefit, and I'm sure, let's just give them the benefit of the doubt, and that this was created with best of interest in mind, which I believe so. It was set up so that they could catch criminals that were either evading the police or, I don't know, say somebody escaped. They have their picture, they can then find them. That's great.
Hiding in plain sight.
So
I wish I could agree with you there. I really wish I could. There was a Washington Post investigation that uncovered this, and it found that the department in New Orleans was specifically circumventing the red tape because they did not think that the process was fast enough for them to get approval to use this system. So they were using the system without going.
They probably knew that they'd get shut down immediately.
Yeah.
But that also goes to why use a private company, is because the private company is not held to the same legal standard as a government agency.
Mhm.
That happens all the time. But what a frightening prospect that is for I don't want to get all political and but you should have reason to investigate somebody, not find somebody to investigate.
Mhm. And I think this kind of also goes along with we talked about this I think several weeks ago. We were talking about how Google or even Apple, whoever, you take a picture and it's usually taking that GPS information and then it compiles like, oh, here's your trip to wherever, and it shows you where you've been. And we've talked about how also there's certain businesses or even national parks are wanting to collect data on you to know, where you went, what you've been up to, so they can, improve the user experience. And I think what we kind of talked about was, at least for me, if you want to collect anonymous data and then just so you can say a number of, hey, this many people came to the park this year, um, it's busiest during these times of day. That's not necessarily like that doesn't bother me nearly as much as soon as you start putting identifiers on it, right? So like
Mhm.
my face or like a license plate, like you're talking about license plate readers. You now have something that will trace that data back to me, and now you have personal information, not public, right? So that's when that is what draws a line for me. As soon as you have something that can trace that back to me and it's not just general information.
Well, I got good
And
news for you, Jackson. They're going to put in a database, and those things are bulletproof. You can't get into those.
right, it's so bulletproof that they'll put it in clear text and everything because they're not worried about it. So
I
I think
saw
it's just
somebody that hacked
go ahead.
into the license plate readers, and he was just watching real time as cars were driving by. And I mean, you got to scratch your head and think, why do I care? So a camera's public and people can see all license plates. That has nothing to do with anything. But if you've got, say, 5,000 cameras across a whole metro city, now you can watch the movement of people and
Mhm.
say, okay, this day, this time, single men will go do a thing, or family events will have this. You can get some deep analytics on people.
So
I
how
like
was
that.
the implementation of this? I mean, were they where were they collecting their data from to be able to match it up to, apparently this book of mugshots that they had
So
Mhm.
scanned it?
there is that the company that they were going through, as Jackson said, was um, Project NOLA, and it's based out of the University of Louisiana, and it's uh, been running since 2010, I believe. Um, but it's basically a database that they are selling to police departments across the country.
Wait, what's
And
in this database?
But
All of
then
us.
what is it?
yeah,
Is it like the
it,
city installed a whole bunch of cameras everywhere to look at people, or are they tapping into
Project NOLA installed
existing
cameras
things?
outside
yes,
of businesses.
yeah, and
Okay,
it's
so it's
using the
installed
information from
cameras.
those cameras to track down alleged criminals.
And how
The
accurate
issue
are they?
I
Well,
could not
that's a
say.
big question because
That's a big question.
one of the pieces that raised my concern, New Orleans, the demographic there leads to that as a problem. So Caucasian people, facial recognition works really well. African American people works maybe 30 to 40% of the time. It is really inaccurate. So I don't know the statistics on other ethnicities, but if it's got less than half accuracy on African Americans, then you're going to have some false positives all over the place.
Mhm.
There's stories of people getting arrested and sitting in jail waiting for their trial. It's not them, but the computer said it was, so they are going to jail.
Right. Yeah, that's a
And
huge
That's
thing. You imagine being in court and there's, pretty fuzzy video footage of you, and then the computer just has a green box around your face saying, "This is so and so." And you're like, "That's not me." What are you gonna do? The computer said so. Who is the court gonna believe?
These
so
18 pixels match you. I mean, really.
um,
yeah.
again, the issue at the heart with this, it's not that they were using the technology to do this, it's that they were purposefully ignoring the rules that were set out for the use of the technology instead of
Mhm.
I,
using the
It's
people that were supposed to double check and make sure, yes, this is the person, or no, this is not the person. They would just go arrest the person and then not tell the
I,
city council.
I'm gonna reframe that.
Okay.
You say it's not that they're using this. It's not just that they're using this technology that is questionable. They're
Okay.
also doing these other things.
They
So
are
they're using questionable
circumventing.
technology to do illegal things.
They're circumventing the guidelines and the rules that were laid out to allow the technology to be used um, appropriately and ethically for both their safety and the safety of the public.
because
Yeah, and I'm gonna
you said earlier that
disagree
they
there.
had some laws in place that were supposed to mitigate and prevent false arrest,
It's a
right?
Supposed
city
to.
ordinance that was
And that
designed
they
to.
somehow went around that.
Yes, they basically were circumventing the regulatory body that was put in charge of them for this
Oh wow.
purpose.
Oh, I'm not going to ask
Like,
mom. I'll ask dad. Dad'll say yes.
Precisely.
yeah. Well, and that goes to the thing. I mean, let's go another direction with this. Who owns our likeness?
We kind of
Uh,
You know?
talked about this before.
Yeah, so these guys
Touched
are
on deep
criminals.
fake and
We're
everything.
catching criminals. But if they're selling our data, isn't that us? Can't Delete Me or any of those other services go delete us from that database?
Yeah, I charge $5 a picture.
10 if
Oh
it's
man,
signed,
I
right?
put a 1 and 2 zeros in front of that number.
Oh, thank you, John. Think so highly of me.
It's one of those, if we're tracking everybody, we're literally going against like the founding fathers, our constitution, just unwarranted search of everybody. There should be a reason. One of the, again, I'm getting borderline political on this, but out of Russia, there came a piece. Show me the man, and I'll show you the crime. Like every one of us has done some mistake at some point, even if it's just jaywalking. If you didn't cross exactly in that crosswalk, you should get a ticket, right? If there was a camera enforcing that, or how about your car? If you go above 55 miles an hour, if you hit 56, boom, you get a ticket, a fine, and points on your license taken.
there's a
I
perfect
feel like
example that I'll bring up. A guy in China. You are not allowed to talk on your phone while you're driving in China. It's just the law. Guy reached up and was scratching his face as he passed one of the cameras. So he got a ticket for talking on the phone when he was just scratching his face. And it's very clear in the camera. There's no phone in his hand, but he still had a ticket.
And you can't fight it.
Because the
The computer
said so.
says you did.
Mm-hmm.
Your appeal has been heard and already denied before you even asked to appeal.
Yeah,
Like,
and
this is bad.
regarding speed, I lived in Brazil for a couple of years, and there are speed cameras in Brazil that will just ticket you mercilessly. You don't get to dispute it. Even the police officers, they don't actually have to stop you. They can just grab your plate and give you a ticket, and you get it in the mail, and you got to pay it. That's it. So I mean, it's that same idea.
Photo radar I can get behind because the municipalities I've seen use it have signs saying you're about to pass a speed camera.
hmm
The speed limits are set for your general road conditions. If it's snowing, like I had a relative say during the middle of a blizzard that this is the kind of weather where you slide through the stop sign and wave at the cop because you can't stop.
Those are the best moments.
I mean, I'll put it another direction. When self-driving cars can work flawlessly and eliminate accidents, then we should have computers decide whether we're following the laws or not.
Flawlessly. That's an important word there.
Yeah. But then do we really want to be subject to robot overlords?
No,
No.
I
Do we
don't.
have a choice?
Dear robot overlords, if you're listening, I'm on your side.
We appreciate your involvement in our lives, robot overlords. Oh, well, let's
I'm also going to close that out with these are all still allegations of the evidence that has been discovered by, in this case, the Washington Post. So we are not
gotta
saying
put
that this is
disclaimer in there.
what?
You got to put that disclaimer right as I'm trying to pivot to the next story.
Well, I'm putting it at the end because if we do it in the middle of the next story, it's not going to make sense.
Should put it in the middle of this story, but whatever.
Well, I tried, but everybody was talking over me, so I just decided I'll wait till the end.
What's that? You're breaking up a little bit. I can't hear you.
I'm going through a tunnel.
Going through a tunnel. There's too many cameras flashing. I can't see what I'm doing.
Yeah, my house is just driving right through the tunnel right now.
Oh, golly. Well, with that pivot successfully derailed, I can't segue nicely. Hey, why not? Let's jump over to this next one. We've got the Russian government, is that right? Is trying
Yes.
to they're requiring an app to be installed on your phone to track. They're one of the latest countries to do this. I know if you visit China, it came out real heavy during the COVID era times. There we go. The COVID times. You had to have an app on your phone that shows who you are and all that. There's states in the United States that are switching over to digital driver's licenses. You have to have the app installed on your phone. Tell us about this Russian one.
Yeah, this is an article coming from Bleepy Computer. And I will sum it up for you. So this is only for visitors, so foreigners, excuse me, that are visiting the Moscow region. And the Russian government is forcing them to install an application on their phone that will then measure the following information and report back to the Russian government. So the location, residence location, their fingerprint, a facial photograph, and they then get real-time location monitoring. And they use that to determine whether or not they've changed their place of residence without notifying the government, or if they've are doing any sort of criminal activity, then they then have that evidence against them for it.
So New Orleans is doing it wrong. We should have just installed an app.
Or Moscow should just contract with the company that helped New Orleans. I mean, really.
We don't
Same
know that
thing,
they didn't.
right? Well, that's true too.
That's a fair point.
Oh, and here's the little nail in the coffin. Quote, foreigners attempting to avoid their obligation in relation to the new law will be added to a registry of monitored individuals and then deported from Russia.
I think nation states can do that. If you really want to lock things down, make life annoying and painful for all your citizens, great. If you want to do it for visitors, great. But what happens if you forget your phone back at your apartment?
Yeah, what if I just don't carry it around with me? If I get a new phone? So, I wonder if there is some
problem.
I wonder if there are some things in there if it requires you to check in. I don't know. It doesn't say here. But I mean, we probably shouldn't give them any ideas. So maybe I'll just stop. Yeah,
Well,
I
it's
mean,
it's
I this is
interesting
a
that
hard.
nation states are doing that.
Yeah, and
It's
and
concerning
this
that
is the
we've got
first.
states doing that.
This is the first that I've heard of it since I think 2020 when COVID happened, because we did hear about China was enforcing that. Um, so yeah, I'm curious as to why this isn't more upfront in the news right now.
I think it's more commonplace now. It's lost its shock value.
Well, it's okay.
Apparently,
I don't need to go to Russia or Moscow for that matter.
Well, they just need to just go to phone manufacturers. I remember when NFL Update was on my phone, and I could not uninstall it because Verizon had a deal with the NFL to have that app running on my phone all the time.
huh?
I
How
remember that.
about when a few years back when U2 decided to give their album away for free, and every Apple device had the album installed, whether you wanted it or not, and you could not get rid of it.
It's a
Yep.
gift. That's pretty funny.
I think it really is. One of the things that can be talked about with this is: do we have a right to own what's on our phone? Do we have a right to decide what we have installed on our device? Or, I mean, granted, having like a cell phone is not a given right, no matter where you are in the world. But if you have one, if you're lucky enough to have one, then should
I'll
somebody else dictate you have to have this on there at all times?
I'll spin that. I'll spin that another direction. Yes, it is now a requirement of the government, wherever you're at, to have a phone. They should provide the phone. You know, if I have to have a thing, the government should provide it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if they charge me for it, okay, great. But um, it should not be a voluntary thing if it's part of your identity that you got to prove every time you get pulled over or you transact with the bank or something. That's just
So you have to have it. So great. Now the hackers have some big target now to go after. Is that
Mhm.
government
again,
database?
they're safe. They're impenetrable.
No,
Nobody can hack those.
no, no. Haven't you learned anything?
One would think. Not this one. No, these databases are just frightening that they're out there. But I think we're at a point in time where we got to decide, do humans have right to what they're doing? Our likeness? Do we have freedom of movement? You know, what is our situation? And is it ours to do with as we please, or do we have to follow somebody else's direction, or just be 100% observed at all times?
I don't think
What an
you want to
interesting
observe
time to
me
live in.
100% of the time. I don't think you'd enjoy that.
Alexa is. That's right. I said it out loud. I apologize to everybody who has an echo in their office now, pulling the queries.
Let's just run through them. Hey Siri, Gemini, who else do we got?
Okay, Google.
I gotta shut my phone up now.
Calling Russian, calling Russia phone application install.
We're an all-inclusive podcast.
I don't know where to go from that statement, but hey, why not? You just said everything.
It's a rare talent I have. I just do it all.
Well, speaking of talents, how did we get to now is kind of a thing we've been talking about past couple episodes. We've talked Jackson, we've talked Mike. Yeah, I think Artie, it's your turn. Tell us the truth or make something up. How did you get to now?
This should
Make
be
something
good.
up first. I want to hear.
Yeah.
Well, you see, when a mommy and a dad, no.
Too
No.
much back in time.
No. Go forward. Go forward.
Fast forward,
By
please.
years forward, not minutes.
So my my relationship with tech is a lot different than I think everybody else here. I wanted to make video games when I was younger, and it was just like I remember sitting with my brother. Just we were going to make basically the Switch. We designed that when we were kids, and that was like color screens were not a thing on handheld devices at that time. So yeah, it was just like wanted to do that, and most
Was there
of
a
my
game that inspired you to do
I'm
it?
sorry?
Was there a specific game that you played that inspired you to do that?
No, I just really enjoyed playing video games, and playing video games is what sparked my need to learn how to do technology. Because if my brother takes apart his computer so that I can't play on it, and to make sure that I can't play on it, then
On a
I
daily
will.
basis, every day, I would disable that stupid thing, and he would crack into it.
Yeah, and it was also
not
one of
salty
those
about it.
PC cases that had the lock to where it would lock the keyboard so that you could not
I remember those.
access it. And I found that first time I ever picked the lock, you just took a piece of what is it, a paper clip, made a circle, and just put it in there, tilt, unlocked it. So
then I put a jumper on the headers on the motherboard on the inside. He found it.
Let's see. So going forward a few years,
You've created a villain, John. You don't know it yet.
well,
let's put it this way. I never found his limit. Not like he was cracking RSA or anything, but oh my goodness, everything short of it.
So a friend of mine, they had some roommates that moved out, and they were gone for like a year. And they were just like, okay, I want to get rid of this stuff. I've got these 2 computers. Neither of them work. Here. So I took the 2 computers and cobbled together what became my first computer, which was a Frankenstein. And, it was able to run what I wanted to play at the time. And gradually over time, I have upgraded and replaced and, just made better, and occasionally just, replaced the entire unit, except for the hard drives, because you got to keep your data, And I learned, I taught myself, for the most part, how to build the computers. And I found a lot of joy from it, a lot of like Zen feelings from it, and a lot of rage from it as well. Especially when you get everything connected together.
Me. That was for me.
No. This was after we had gone, different paths. You get the computer together, and you make sure all the connections are there. You turn it on, nothing happens. It's like, what did I do wrong? And you can't get on the computer, onto the internet, to find out what you did wrong, because it's your only computer. I mean, people take for granted that we've got, the internet in our pocket. You go back 10 years, you go back 15 years, most people only had one computer in their household still back then. It's only like even if you had a computer in your household, they haven't really become staples until like probably the last 12, 15 years. Yeah. So gaming has been the main reason that I have learned how to do anything with computers. And I'm right now learning Godot because I'm creating my own game right now.
Very cool. What's it called? I haven't heard of that before.
Godot? It's
Godot.
So a few years back when Unity or when the people that made Unity and the people that made Unreal, no, it was the Unity people said, we're going to start charging for how to do things, and we're going to make it retroactive. So even if you've got a game out there, you're going to owe us like $4.5 million for the amount of games that you've sold, even if you're
I
giving the
remember
game away
that.
for free.
Yikes.
And yeah,
That was a big deal.
yeah, and they walked that back a few months later after the absolute crap storm that hit them, and at the same time, you had people out there. Okay, so what's an alternative? There's Godot. Godot is an open source and free to use game development system that can be used for 3D or two-dimensional games. And it is, you can import from Unity or Unreal. And yeah, at the time I was looking into going to Unreal, but I've never been a big fan of Epic Mega Games. And that tells you how long I've known about that company, because they haven't used that name in years. So yeah, I've been learning Godot, and I had dabbled a little bit with RPG Maker in the past, so I understand just how logic gate dependent all video games are. I don't care what game you're playing, you're doing math.
Yeah. An insane amount of math.
And I'm also one of
Rendering
those people that
requires-
is very adamant about, if the game takes 6 hours to get through and it's like 300 gigs on your hard drive, bad programming. Somebody just did a really bad job at compiling and designing that game. And now we've got silence.
Well, I think we're actually near the end of our selected time here.
Yeah.
So, Artie, that's a fantastic start, except for the part of hacking my computer growing up. That's a fantastic start in the tech.
If I didn't do that, I would not be where I'm at right now. I would probably not have. I mean, I wish that we could have like worked together to actually develop like a console, or just like a game, and you know, the powers that be were against us. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, that wasn't
Games
in
are
the
a
cards
great
for us.
way to get into it. I think a lot of people I've known, it's because of games that they want to learn to program or learn to do something in tech, is because of the neat things that they saw their video games do.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, video games is definitely a powerful tool. Can be used for good, can be used for evil, can be used to hack into your brother's computer. Either way. Well, I appreciate everybody's time on this. I love talking to you guys and seeing your perspective on these stories. I think we should wrap this up and let you guys get back with your days. Until next time, I'm John.
I'm Mike.
I'm Jackson.
I'm learning Godot.
And we'll see you next time. Take care, everybody.